So at the beginning of the story, we see a girl named Juliet who was traveling in the city in a van. There was no one there because the whole city was barren. Everything was over there. But only Juliet and her base people were left. She had come to the city to find the necessary things for her soldiers. She had a gun in the van and a picture of her husband. She still misses her husband a lot. Now she stops her van near a gas station. That place was also completely destroyed. Juliet goes inside and takes a little rest because she was very tired. But then she starts hearing voices from that gas station, which scared her a lot. And she goes away from there too. Actually, there was such a destruction in the world where there were dangerous creatures that looked like humans, which were spread everywhere. Those creatures hunted humans and killed them. They did not come out during the day, but came out at night and attacked humans. Now the voices coming from the gas station to Juliet were of those dangerous creatures that were hidden there. After which Juliet sits in her van again and talks to her commander on the intercom. They also tell Juliet about the creatures and also tell her to do her job carefully. Here, Juliet's intercom battery is about to run out. It was also going to be night, so she starts taking her van from a small road. A little further ahead, she sees another van where a man was injured. When she goes and sees him, he tells Juliet that a creature attacked me last night. He has done this to me. I have locked him in my van, but that man was in great pain. That's why he tells Juliet to kill himself, because he couldn't bear the pain. After that, she goes to the injured man's van and kills that creature, and comes out with the necessary stuff. Outside, that man was also dead. Now it was going to be night, so Juliet quickly sits in her van and starts going to her base. When she was going, she lost her mind while looking at her husband Jack's picture on the way, and her van has an accident. So the story goes from here in the past when everything was fine, when the world was not like this. We see Juliet in an art gallery, where she was looking at the paintings. She met Jack for the first time, who was the owner of that art gallery. He comes and asks Jack if he liked the painting, to which she says, yes, maybe, because Juliet is not here to see any painting, but she came here for free food. Jack also understood from her that she didn't know anything about paintings. She tells him that it was raining outside, I just came here. But Jack listens to her and says, I know, God has sent you here because he wants to bring us together. After that, he shows Juliet a painting which had a very strange face. He says, look at it. You must be feeling that it is so bad, but I say look at it carefully. Don't go to its face. In fact, look at how beautifully it is made. That means Jack was explaining to her about the inner beauty of a human being. Now the next day, Jack meets Juliet again and takes her to his house. She was surprised to see the house, because her house was very big and beautiful. They both sit and talk a lot, where they find out that they were not their parents. But after a while, Juliet feels something strange and she starts going, because she was suspicious of Jack's good behavior, so she leaves his house. After that, a scene is shown a few days later. Jack sees Juliet in a bar. There was an old man with him. Jack doesn't like to see this at all. He feels even worse to know that Juliet spends time with such bad people just to get money. That's why he follows her now. He came to his house and he sees that some goons were bothering Juliet, because he didn't pay the rent of his house. So seeing all this, Jack helps her. He pays the rent to the landlord and tells Juliet that I can help you if you want. But she doesn't listen to him, and instead tells him to leave her house in anger. Many days pass like this. One day, Juliet herself comes to Jack's house. She was in a very bad condition. She was very injured. This condition was caused by the same goons who had saved her before. When Jack sees her in this condition, he gets very worried. Anyway, he cleans her wounds and takes good care of her. Juliet didn't know how much Jack loved her. That's why he was taking such good care of her. Here we learn one more thing about Juliet, that what she used to do with drugs. Now when she gets completely fine, she was going out to get drugs again. Jack stops her from doing this, on which she gets very angry and starts throwing things from the house. That's why Jack hugs her and calms her down. He wanted to get rid of her drug addiction. That's why he takes her away from the city, where he buys a very beautiful house. They had also got married, and they were living happily there. One day, Juliet gives Jack the good news that she's going to be a mother, which makes Jack very happy. But when her child was born, he was dead, which made them both very sad. Jack knew that all this happened because of Juliet's addiction, but he didn't tell her anything because he was also very sad. Juliet was again getting more and more drunk. She used to stay out of the house all night. Jack used to go and find her and take care of her. But one day when they were going in the car, they also had a fight. Juliet tells her that you are responsible for my child's death, on which Jack gets very angry and he gets out of the car and goes to a factory. And Juliet also came to a bar. Sometimes she gets a call from Jack, but she doesn't pick up. But when she watches the news on TV, in which it was being told that 40 people died because of a chemical explosion near the factory, she gets very scared and starts thinking about Jack. Sometimes she picks up Jack's phone, so a man tells her that Jack's condition is very bad, and he is in the hospital. Juliet goes to the hospital quickly. She goes and sees that Jack was in a room whose condition was very bad, and seeing this, Juliet was regretting that if there was no fight between them, then Jack would not have been in such a state. Anyway, when she goes to Jack, he could not speak. So he writes, "I love you" on a board, which makes Juliet cry a lot. Because now she realized the love of Jack. She didn't want to lose him. Juliet was sure that he would be fine. Nothing will happen to him. The next day when she comes to the hospital, Jack was not there. Upon her arrival, the hospital staff tells that he is dead, and they burned his body because he was completely infected. Hearing this, Juliet was now broken. After her death, she remembers many memories of Jack. After Jack's death, Juliet was now completely alone again. After that, we see the story again in the present, where Juliet's van had an accident. Now she slowly comes to her senses. Her leg was stuck in the van. She tries to move, but she can't. Then she sees her gun, which was a little far from the van. She tries to pull it towards her with a wire, but she can't. Now she pulls her leg out. Her leg bone was broken, which was now coming out. She puts alcohol on it and puts it in her hand, which was hurting her a lot. But she had now tied a bandage on her leg. She also tries to contact her base with the radio in her van, but she can't talk to anyone. Now she slowly goes out and goes and picks up her gun. Then a strange creature came from the sound of her radio, which looked exactly like a human. Actually, all these creatures were humans before, but because of the chemical explosion in the factory, the survivors turned into creatures. That is the same explosion in which Jack also died. Juliet then hears a voice on her radio. Someone was talking from her base, but now that creature was also coming towards her, because the sound of the radio was pulling that creature towards Juliet. Then Juliet throws that radio away from her van, by which that creature also goes near the radio, picks it up and throws it away. After that, Juliet also throws some tube lights out, which could be seen in the dark, so that she can find the radio with their help. She does get the radio, but the creature also saw her, which starts following her. Seeing this, Juliet comes back to her van and starts waiting for the creature with her gun. He comes from behind and catches Juliet, but she presses the accelerator of the van, which scared him, and he goes back a little. But he attacks her again. Juliet this time shoots her with her gun and gets her away. Now she had also talked on the radio. Her base people say that you turn on the tracking device in your van, with which we will find you. She does the same, where she was trying to escape from a creature. Then that creature succeeds in breaking the front glass of her van and starts moving towards her. But Juliet quickly turns on the headlight, from which he ran away, because these creatures could not tolerate much light. Later she talks on her base on the radio again, on which she says to him that we are in danger. If you also stay alive till morning, then we will save you. Hearing this, Juliet was even more scared. Then she hears another car over there. She looks at that car and starts calling them. Actually, they were thieves and goons who killed people, stole their stuff and ran away. When a man from that car hears Juliet's voice, he came to kill her instead of saving her. But the creature present there pulls that man and kills him, and eats him, which saved Juliet's life. The rest of the man was afraid of the creature and ran away. But now poor Juliet was more afraid of everything, and thinks of taking her own life, because she did not want to die at the hands of the creature. Now she is brave and comes out of the van. She had a can of petrol and a flare stick. She puts the can of petrol on fire at a distance from the van. The creature saw the light and started coming towards her. As soon as she comes to her, she shoots the petrol can, which causes a big explosion there. But the creature still does not die from that explosion. He pulls Juliet and throws her away. But this time Juliet does not die for him, and shot the creature, which makes him fall there. And Juliet also lay there because she was injured and very tired. When it was morning, the creature was conscious there. He was slowly moving towards Juliet again. She picks up the gun to kill him again, but this time the bullets in her gun were also over. The creature comes to him and touches him exactly the same way as Jack used to touch him. Here, we and Juliet know that Jack was not dead, but he was alive and transformed into a creature. He was with Juliet all the time, as if he was protecting her. Sometimes Juliet remembers Jack's painting, which had a very strange face. He was explaining about the inner beauty of a person, which means he understood now. Also, now she also agreed that they were not destined to meet. She now tells Jack that she also loves him very much. They both were very sad, after which Juliet shoots herself and Jack. She did it maybe because she was responsible for Jack's condition. She believed herself and she killed Jack for this reason. She was very sad to see him in such a condition. She did not want Jack to hurt anyone else. So always take care of your loved ones who love you. This survival story ends here.